Hey, everybody, and welcome back to For the Booze.
For the Booze.
That's us.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say it a second time.
No,
I saw it.
that's
You
us.
wanted to.
I did. I wanted to.
We are back yet again, Booze Crew, for another week of spooky destination stuff. So,
Hey, everybody.
And last week was kind of fun. I never heard of that place, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The Evil Doctor. They should make a movie about that place, honestly.
Yes,
It'd be
that would make
awful.
a really good movie.
It would. So, anything new?
No.
Of course not. I already knew the answer to that question.
No.
But we do have something new. We've been watching that show Ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
What a great show.
CBS, I think, comedy
Oh, man.
sitcom series.
So funny. That show is hilarious. And if you're out there and you haven't seen it,
Watch it. Yes. We put it off. We saw it like on commercials and stuff when it first came out, and we kind of put it off. So now we're binging it, which is awesome.
And it's so good. It is way funnier than I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
You know,
And you're not a big sitcom person.
I'm not. I don't like sitcoms generally.
I do.
So,
I do. I tend to like them. I mean, some of
figure.
them are really corny, but
this one it's still kind of corny.
it is. But it is good.
But it's corny in a good way.
It is so good.
But this week, we actually have a listener story. All the way from Middle Earth in merry old England.
In England?
Yes. And your English accent is
I know.
pretty bad.
I know. I'm sorry, Aunt. I know you're going to listen to this.
Our friend, Anthony, from across the pond, I actually reached out to him because originally we were going to do something different on this episode. Unfortunately, the information wasn't quite as abundant, being that I had to get it all from England. So I do plan on kind of circling back around to that eventually when I can find more info on it. So we're going to do something else. We're not going to tell you what it is yet. But if you're at the title of this week's episode, then you already know what it is. So I'm going to read this listener story because I haven't read this yet.
From my peeps.
From my peeps. Aunt is my peeps.
They were my peeps first.
Yeah. Let's call him up and ask him about rockets and see who holds that conversation. Hey, bro. The story goes, it was 1994, I think. I was 23 years old, before getting married and kids. I was with my little brother, who was 14 years old at the time. We used to do everything together. It was summer. It was a lovely day for the UK. We decided to go and take our bicycles, out for a ride. We lived in the country near a village called Triptree in the county of Essex. So it was easy to find a ride in the country lanes. Near where we lived, there was a Greek Orthodox monastery for, I think, retired monks. And on this day, a ride took us out down the lanes and past the monastery, which was set in the middle of the countryside in a wooded area next to two country lanes. We rode past the monastery and down the lane next to it. High, thick hedgerows either side that looked like walls, really. Right along the edge of either side of the narrow lane. The lanes were always really quiet with few cars, and the lane with where we were riding was a dead end with a golf course at the end. I suppose we had ridden about 100, 200 yards down the lane when we saw ahead of us a figure walking in the center of the lane. As we got closer, we saw that the figure looked like a monk from the back, wearing a long dark robe with a hood, and the hood was over the figure's head. The thing that was weird was as we got closer, the robes didn't appear to be moving as the person was walking along, and there didn't appear to be head movement you would, I guess, expect from someone walking. The person was traveling along at what appeared to be a normal walking pace, but with what looked like no head movement at all. It looked like the monk was hovering along the road. As we got close to the figure and went past, we could see that the figure's head was facing down and the hood was facing down and forward, if that makes any sense. The figure carried on walking in the center of the narrow lane, not turning around as we approached and rode past. I turned my head, as did my brother, to look towards the figure, but the hood appeared to cover his face. We carried on down the road in a bend in the road and out of view of the figure. who looked at each other and stopped at the side of the road. We both had the same thought. That was weird. Should we go back? We turned round and rode back towards the figure. As we came back around the bend, the figure had disappeared. There was nowhere for the monk to go as the hedgerows were so thick with no gaps at all. Not enough time had passed for the figure, the monk, to return to the monastery either. Even Usain Bolt couldn't have run that fast, and in a robe. We checked up and down the road again for gaps in the hedgerow, but found nothing. The monk had just vanished. We then both freaked out and rode away, fast. It's making the hairs on my arms stand up just writing about it. To this day, I am petrified of monks. Of any description. My brother is exactly the same.
Dang. No way.
I've never heard that story, and I haven't talked to him as much lately as I normally used to, but I'm surprised I've never heard that story, being that, I like paranormal stuff. I guess I've just never asked.
That's pretty creepy.
Yeah, Aunt. I don't know if Aunt technically listens. He may.
Well, if it's his story, he better.
We have a good amount of British listeners, and shout out to whoever is our listener in Liverpool.
Ooh.
Because in such a short period of time, they listen to just about every episode. So big thank you to everybody, but go Liverpool. I'm a big Beatles fan, and honestly, this week's episode was supposed to be out of Liverpool. So actually, if you're the listener, you live in Liverpool, send me an email. You might be able to help me with a new episode.
Oh, yeah. We had a tough time finding some info, so maybe you can help.
Absolutely. I'm always down for help. Like, it's a podcast. This isn't a news segment.
Right.
I'll take the help where I can get it.
Yeah, and we're a community. We're a community of paranormal lovers.
We are a community in the unity of love. But anyways, moving forward, we are absolutely doing a very well-known place this week.
Yes, we are.
Because while we don't always like to focus on the widely known stuff, it is fun to go back and kind of do our own research on it and see what we can find, because we don't always need TV telling us what to think. So we do that. And this week, we're heading all the way up to Napanoch, New York, in Ulster County, and we are going to visit the world-famous
Shanley Hotel.
That's right. Now, if you are an avid paranormal investigator on YouTube watcher, or even television shows like Ghost Hunters, you have seen this place.
Yep.
And honestly, I think that this place has more claims of paranormal than just about anything else that I have ever seen, like by double.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is, and I use this quote strategically, an unbelievable amount, to be for certain. So, with that said, I think, what do you think? You think we should do this, right?
I think we should.
Well, let's go ahead and do this.
Let's do it.
Napanoch is a hamlet in Ulster County, New York, United States. It is at the junction of routes 209 and 55. The population was 1,131 at the 2020 census. Napanoch is on the Shawangunk Ridge National Scenic Byway, and it's part of the Hudson River Valley National Heritage Area. Napanoch is in the town of Walworthing, and according to the United States Census Bureau, the census-designated place, or CDP, the town has a total area of 1.2 square miles, of which 1.2 square miles is land, and 0.04 square miles is water. When part of the New Netherland colony, Dutch traders first called the area of present-day Ulster County Esopus, a name borrowed for convenience from a locality on the opposite side of the Hudson. The local Lenape indigenous people called themselves Waranawanka, but soon came to be known to the Dutch as the Esopus Indians, because they were encountered around the settlement known as Esopus. In 1652, Thomas Chambers purchased land at Esopus. He and several others actually settled and began farming by June 1653. The settlement grew into the village of what would later become known as Kingston. In 1683, the Duke of York created 12 counties in his province, one of which was Ulster County, named after Prince James, Duke of York. Later, he would become King James II of England, whose subsidiary titles included Earl of Ulster. Its boundaries at the time included the present Sullivan County and parts of the present Delaware, Orange, and Greene counties. Napanoch is from the Munsee dialect of the northern Lenape, and it's thought to mean land overflowed by water. It is from the original deed to that area. Old Route 209 and Main Street follow the Minnesink Trail, the Lenape path between the Hudson and Delaware rivers. Louis Bevier, the new Pausé Pentanti, bought the area for two of his sons, Jean Bevier and Abram Bevier, in 1705 or 1706. In 1777, the first state capital of the independent New York State was established at Kingston. The official records of Ulster County were removed to safety to a stone house in Kerhonkson when it became evident that the British would burn Kingston. In 1797, parts of Otsego and Ulster counties were split off to create Delaware County. In 1798, Ulster County's southernmost towns were moved into Orange County to compensate Orange for breaking away its southernmost part to form Rockland County. The world is full of purportedly haunted places, but at the Shanley Hotel in Ulster County, New York, standard practice hints at something a little more serious than vague ghost stories. To stay there, you have to be over 16 years old, and before you spend the night, you reportedly have to sign a waiver. Located in the city of Napanoch in the great state of New York, the haunted Shanley Hotel has been the topic of interest among paranormal investigators for quite some time. Consisting of an amazing 35 rooms and the mysteriously hidden basement area, the quote, "the spirits are in," is often associated with this particular structure. There are many cases regarding witnesses to what is believed to be paranormal activity at the haunted Shanley Hotel. It is believed that the spirits that reside in the structure are attempting to communicate secrets to the living that they want to be brought out into the light. Rumors have it that the deaths have been covered up in the history of the establishment. Murders have been committed in and around the hotel, and other secrets plague this building. The Shanley Hotel was the original hotel establishment that appealed to a wide range of people, with special privileges to their wealthy gentlemen guests, was first built in 1845 by Thomas Rich in Napanoch, New York. Napanoch was seen as a perfect place for busy New Yorkers to get away from their daily life to unwind and relax. Rich promoted his hotel, the Thomas Rich Hotel, as being, quote, one of the area's best with fine food and new furnishings. Its location was near the railroad and provided rooms for travelers all year long, for vacationers and area workers who were employed locally. Only 6 years later, the Shanley Hotel was bought by Mr. Hungerford and became Hungerford's Hotel. Now, Hungerford carried on the tradition of providing guest rooms in a high-class place that continued to offer the Gentlemen's Club that had its own private bordello. Several owners followed. Adolf Wagner, who bought the hotel in January of 1887, suffered a financial loss when the hotel caught fire from the sparks coming from a neighboring house on March 18, 1895. As the hotel had burned to its foundation, Wagner raised funds and rebuilt the hotel. It opened once again in September of 1895. On October 1st, 1906, Wagner sold the hotel to Irishman James Lewis Shanley, a successful entrepreneur with an outgoing personality who had moved to Napanoch to contend with health challenges that he had faced. James renamed the hotel the Shanley Hotel. James added more wholesome activities for the guests. He added a barber shop, a bowling alley, and also a billiard room. After marrying the love of his life, Beatrice Rowley, the Shanleys enjoyed running the hotel together. They loved their community, welcoming everyone and becoming the social event place for the town and outsiders as well. They in turn were also loved by everybody in the community. They became a notable couple in the area and enjoyed many parties at their property. These parties were frequented by quite a few well-known people, including Thomas Edison, Franklin D. and Eleanor Roosevelt, and the hotel reflected the couple's fashionable and up-to-date style at the time. They would host all sorts of social occasions to entertain the town and guests alike, such as card and domino tournaments, glorious parties, high teas, and other fun events. Unfortunately, the couple faced intense hardship as they began to start a family. They had 3 children together, Kathleen, James, and William. However, all 3 would tragically die, and they would all die before they even got to their first birthday. The hotel barber's daughter also perished in horrific circumstances when she fell down the well on a nearby farm. In 1918, Mrs. Shanley's sister died in the hotel at a very young age. Esther Fallman died on the 2nd floor of the hotel from influenza, leaving her sister to raise her 2 children. The pain of this loss and the loss of her children destroyed Mrs. Shanley, who never truly recovered. Now, during the Prohibition era, the Shanley Hotel had a speakeasy for the benefit of their guests and the town's citizens, like many hotels and inns. The Shanley Hotel speakeasy was located in a secret room in the basement. It was raided only once by police in 1932, resulting in the confiscation of alcohol and some people being arrested, including James Shanley and his associate John Powers. They were arraigned in federal court, but ended up serving no time. It is safe to assume that they probably paid a pretty hefty fine. Several years after James Shanley died of a heart attack, Beatrice Shanley sold their beloved Shanley Hotel to Allen Hazen in 1944. Running a hotel on her own lost its appeal to her, and she wanted to be with the rest of her family in New York City. After Allen Hazen died, many owners took the reins of this beloved hotel, but didn't invest in the hotel structure. When it became a rather expensive fixer-upper opportunity, the hotel was abandoned and left vacant, except for the Spirit residence, in 1991. The Shanley Hotel faced many tragedies. Individuals came up missing, and it was said that various murders even occurred at the location. Unfortunately, many of these events were not appropriately documented and remained to be a matter of assumption. In the year of 1937, on the 26th of August, James Shanley experienced a heart attack that resulted in his death. Beatrice Shanley elected to sell the hotel to a man named Allen Hazen. Now, interestingly, this man had been born on the same day but a different year as James Shanley, and he also died on the 26th of August, just several years later. Years later, Salvatore Nicosia and his wife, who were real estate flippers, bought the then crumbling hotel in 2005 as a flip opportunity, but they wound up falling in love with the structure as they spent time, energy, and funds to restore the Shanley Hotel to its original form of glory. Salvatore found out that there were many unseen, friendly residents cheering him on who were very pleased at his efforts. On July 7, 2005, when escrow closed, the fact that they inherited spirited company became real after hearing footsteps coming up the staircase while they sat around on the 2nd floor discussing what the restoration plans for the hotel would be. The next day, he and a friend went out and purchased some ghost hunting basic tools, and the spirits enthusiastically responded. Due to the amount of spirit activity in the Shanley Hotel, a big part of the business plan is to cater to paranormal investigation groups and paranormal classes. The spirits are willing participants, wanting to help the owners and have fun at the same time. This business plan began from the grand opening of the Shanley Hotel in 2008. The public was invited in a big way. Quote, "The spirits are in." Hard evidence and personal experiences with the spirits was posted on the website and offered, quote, "paranormal workshops, in-house psychics, and ghost tours." It seemed tragedy would strike One last time at the Shanley Hotel on July 5th, 2016, owner Salvatore Charles Nicosia passed away at the age of 71. He loved the history of the hotel and the surrounding area and enjoyed meeting people from all over the world that visited the hotel. Sal was liked by everyone who knew him. Investigator Kelly Hammerling bought the property after Sal's passing and plans to keep the tradition of the ghost hunting at the Shanley alive. The Shanley Hotel is a 3-story Dutch colonial hotel that looms big on the main street of Napanoch. It has a marvelous front porch and has historic curb appeal. It's obvious that they promote their ghost hunting business plans because of the cute ghost figure seen on the porch and the fact that it hasn't been painted recently, making it look really old and haunted for the benefit of the public. The 35-room hotel has 10 rooms for their guests that are mostly on the second and third floors. It has been beautifully restored with antiques, painted floors, and lovely decor throughout the building that rings true with the James Shanley years. Guests from the working class to the wealthy loved staying at the Shanley Hotel. Apparently, some still check in and even have chosen to spend their afterlife there. It is said owners who really love their hotels and inns often like to visit or stay in their afterlife, sometimes helping the living when they can. Allegedly, several owners from the Shanley Hotel's past still visit or stay, trying to be helpful to the living or remembering their memories of life. Visitors of the Shanley Hotel will often experience full-bodied apparitions. These ghosts will usually be dressed in clothing from the early to mid-20th century. Guests at the hotel will also hear footsteps and sounds of children playing. Many people have reported feeling something touch them at night when their room is empty. They say the whole hotel seems to be lively with paranormal activity, with most rooms having significant activity. However, some rooms seem more haunted than others. The room where Esther died and the gentleman's quarters appear to have a lot of paranormal activity. If you are wanting to stay at this hotel, be warned, you probably will not get an undisturbed night's sleep. Most rooms in the hotel get visits from ghosts, and there will be noises and shadows bothering you until the time you decide to check out. That is, if you can make it that long.
Wow. That was a really good history. That was a lot rolled into one. I tend to like the history of hotels and just see the various ways that they just develop into what they are today, or sometimes are today. Sometimes they're not around. But I really like this one. I do.
Well, this was the thing about this hotel in particular, was like I was saying, there was a, quote, unbelievably large amount of activity here. I read down what I could find to be documented truth.
Yeah.
But as we're going to find out in your story, there's a lot more.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't go in and try to write every story of every person said to haunt this hotel, because this would have been a 4-hour episode if you've ever watched anything on this. So,
yeah.
But there has been a lot of documented tragedy that has happened on this property. So I don't want to get in too much to like the how do I feel about it, because we do that at the end of the show. But yeah, but it seems that everybody who has been an owner of this place throughout history has been pretty well liked by everybody in the community. It seems like this hotel has always been a good spot.
Yeah. We've done a few hotels now. We have a few hotels under our belts. And I think in doing all of them, there seems to be one common trend, I guess. And
What's
that's
that?
A lot of the owners tend to stay after they've passed.
I think that's, kind of like how when people die in the house that they've lived in for 40 years, they tend to stay.
Yeah.
Because it's home. And
you mean like our house?
Exactly. No different. But they say that, they believe that Mr. Shanley still haunts the hotel because that was home to him and his wife, and they did experience a lot of trauma there. So
yeah,
There's a lot more that we have to talk about, but that is the history of the Shanley Hotel in Napanoch, and I think we should get into some ghost stuff. What do you think?
I think we should.
But we're going to have to do it right after some ads.
Now, Booze Crew, let's get back to our show. Known as the most haunted location on the East Coast, the haunted Shanley Hotel is a bed and breakfast where you will be sleeping with the spirits. People from all over the world travel to the sleepy town of Napanoch, New York, to share in the experience and seek answers from beyond the grave. Just because you rent a room at the Shanley doesn't mean you'll be staying the night. Over the years, visitors have reported rocking chairs seen rocking on their own, mysterious clock chimes, hot and cold spots, whistling, footsteps, piano music, voices, the laughing of children, and even the aromas of cooking when no food is being prepared. Many have seen shadows and apparitions at the Shanley and report the unsettling feeling of being watched. The hauntings at the Shanley have gained the attention of Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters, Bios by Ghost Story, and the Discovery Channel's Ghost Lab, just to name a few. Paranormal investigators flock to the hotel to discover the stories of the haunted Shanley's exciting history. They say the spirits that linger span the many decades of the hotel's existence. Guests have seen full-bodied apparitions of a woman in Victorian dress, a man wearing the garb of the 1920s, a little girl that giggles and plays in the corridors, a ghostly feline that meanders between the legs of guests, and many, many more. Photographs and high-quality EVPs have all been captured here. Disembodied voices are heard calling out to guests. Shadow figures watching from every darkened corridor. Even claims of spirits slipping under the covers with you have all been reported here. Who exactly are the spirits that are wandering the haunted Shanley Hotel? Many believe that James and Beatrice Shanley still check in to see who is staying at the hotel they once called home. Although the Shanleys were lovely people, beloved by the community, they knew more than their fair share of tragedy. Beatrice adored children, but sadly buried 3 of her own, none of which lived beyond their first year. As the woman that is heard sobbing, the imprint of her mourning soul over the loss of her children. Her sister Esther also died unexpectedly at the Shanley Hotel after suffering from influenza. Maybe she is still looking for her 2 young children she left behind. Another spirit you may run into is that of little Rosie. James had added a barbershop to the hotel when he bought it and hired Peter Gregor as the hotel's barber. Gregor moved into the apartment at the hotel until his youngest daughter, Rosie, met an untimely end. Having wandered over to a neighboring farm, the young girl lifted the wood that was placed over the well and fell in. Her body was discovered 2 hours later, but her spirit is said to have never left the place she called home. She is a playful little girl that can be seen and heard wandering around the Shanley Hotel. There are claims of other child spirits. A little boy that lingers in the attic. Jonathan, as he has been affectionately called, enjoys the toys that guests have brought him and has been captured in many photos and also in EVPs. His room is next door to another room that is occupied by a more sinister spirit. Joe is believed to have been a member of the Irish Mafia that frequented the Gentlemen's Club and Bordello. He can be quite grumpy, but he's always willing to talk. Joe is not the only darkened soul that hangs around the haunted Shanley Hotel. Alfred E. Vlockman was a 20-year-old butcher boy when he brutally attacked and killed 9-year-old Helen Glenn. Is he penitent for his heinous actions towards the young preacher's daughter? Or is he simply terrified of moving on? Other strange happenings have been rumored to have occurred on and around the property, including a little boy who had been run over by his father's car, a woman who drowned in a bathtub, another woman who was either strangled or had hung herself. Psychics have claimed she was killed and that the hanging was staged. Experiencing a death by murder or suicide is claimed to leave restless spirits behind. A distraught man committed suicide in the Blue Room bathroom after he lost everything in the 1929 market crash. His name is thought to be Vincent. The Shanley Bordello is quite haunted by former prostitutes who provide sensual entertainment. Prostitution has long been a risky business for women's mental and physical well-being, sometimes ending in their untimely death. When the women felt hopeless about finding a man who would marry them to take them out of this destructive lifestyle, they would choose to kill themselves as a way out. It was also all too common of a time that some of these ladies were killed by their customers as well. In the bordello area, people have felt sensations that could be part of experiences that occurred in a bordello. Sexual highs and lows, sense of heaviness, shortness of breath, and sometimes a feeling of joy or even depression. People have even noticed the aromas of perfume, cigar smoke, pipe tobacco, and delicious food cooking in this area. There have been numerous personal experiences, and because the spirits are a cooperative group, a lot of convincing pictures have been caught in photos and film, along with numerous amounts of EVPs as well. It is definitely an enormous paranormal hotspot, waiting to be experienced by all. Among the many EVPs that have been recorded here are:
I said answer me, kid.
Murdered. No.
I said nothing.
Take care.
Betty.
These and more are linked on the hotel's official website. And personal experiences never seem to stop here. Late owner Sal Nicosa reported seeing, quote, a full-bodied apparition of a woman going from one room to another on the 3rd floor, 8 months after he bought the house, and also claiming, quote,
Sometimes, when I'm alone in the building, I hear my name being called out and people talking, and there's nobody there.
end quote. The children's spirits liked to call his name and followed him all around the hotel. The stories that surround the Shanley Hotel, and even the history itself, have been debated among paranormal investigators and fans of the paranormal alike. Many have claimed that the stories are made up or blown out of proportion, and some claim that it is all 100% real. There's no doubt that the stories here are nothing less than impressive. But is it all real? If you go to YouTube and search the Shanley Hotel, you will find no shortage of videos. It seems just about every YouTube paranormal investigator has been to this location and gathered an almost unbelievable amount of evidence from this place. While we usually end this segment with the story of an investigation, the fact that it is so highly debated, we wanted to do something different. It is something we've done before, but because of the controversial nature of this location, instead of covering an investigation that has gone on at this location, we thought it would be better to get real-life stories from people who have stayed at this hotel. So these are the reviews that we could find from people who have actually stayed at the Shanley Hotel. Kimberly M. Quote,
My husband and I stayed at the Shanley Hotel on our road trip to Maine on May 16th, 2022. We both had experiences. We were both touched, and we also caught a few EVPs on our digital voice recorder after we had went to bed. We caught a little girl giggling. We both also physically heard it. And we caught something growling. And we have the REM pod in our room, and it was going off. My husband couldn't sleep. He has Parkinson's, and that causes him to have restless legs. So he went down to the great room and said he was hearing what sounded like footsteps going up and down the stairs and walking around on the second floor. There was only us and one other couple in the hotel other than our guide, so there wasn't much of people in the hotel, and everyone was in their rooms sleeping. This was around 2 or 3 a.m., and there were not any children in the hotel either. We were planning on going back in November for my birthday.
Shannon M.
I stayed in the Shanley Hotel April 24th and was so amazed at this hotel. It is absolutely beautiful, and there was so much activity in the seance room. The night was filled with amazing history and evidence of the paranormal. Our guide Tracy was amazing, and we got to meet the owner Kelly also, who is the best. I really didn't want to leave, and even with all the activity, I actually slept really good. My sister's arm was pushed, and you can feel the different vibes throughout each room. I will definitely return here again. I'm still going through my recordings and photos.
Laura B. Quote,
Spent the past Saturday night at the Shanley. I went with my best friend and 17-year-old niece. We intentionally did not watch videos prior to our visit. We did not want to be influenced by other people's findings. What we experienced during our stay was authentic and compelling. Kelly and Stephanie were wonderful hosts/guides. Kelly's second family did not disappoint. If you love the paranormal, book right now. I think even skeptics would have a hard time not walking away without having some questions. We haven't stopped talking about the Shanley since we left, and we are already planning our next trip. Thank you, ladies, for such an awesome time period. See you soon.
Mandy B. 543. Quote,
We had such a great time. The staff was so friendly. Stephanie greeted us right away and was a pleasure. The new owner, Kelly, was lovely as well. We stayed in the silent room, and the bed was surprisingly comfortable. Unfortunately, we did not sleep much because of the shadows outside our door and because our flashlight developed a mind of its own and turned off and on all night. The nightly tour was by far exceeded my expectations. We had so many experiences, both with the group and on our own. We will definitely be back. We had a lot of fun. Maybe next time I will be brave enough to hang out on the 3rd floor.
Marion L. Quote,
3 of us arrived promptly at 6 p.m., and we were welcomed by the owner Kelly and her assistant Kim. They were happy to answer questions and offer information. The Shanley definitely gives us a sense of what it was like in the early 1900s. The rooms were clean and comfortable. The 5-hour evening tour was fantastic. Kelly is great at what she does, and you can sense her love of conjuring the spirits, of whom she seems to have a genuine relationship with. Kim, her assistant, has abundant knowledge as well. They assured us all paranormal activity was legitimate, hence, they made no promises of us having paranormal experiences. Upon entering the first room of the tour, flashlights were turning on and off by themselves, and so were the music boxes. The electrical equipment was offering spirit-driven responses to questions asked by hosts and guests alike. Some rooms offered no activity, as Kelly had previously told us. After the tour was complete, Kelly and Kim encouraged guests to roam about designated rooms, investigating on their own. If you're in search of the real deal, the Haunted Shanley is the place for you.
And these are just a few of the reviews among hundreds and hundreds of mostly positive encounters people have had at the hotel. Of course, there are some very negative reviews, but they are actually very hard to find. And while this hotel is connected to a flood of YouTube videos that made to garner clicks and likes, it seems that the real-world guests have had a mostly positive experience visiting this place. Like we said earlier, there have been a lot of naysayers when it comes to the hotel, even guests of the show. So really, the decision is yours. What is it that really happened here? Are all of the stories we've heard true? Does Mr. Shanley still walk the halls of the hotel that he once loved so much? And are you ready to spend the night at what has been called the most haunted hotel on the East Coast?
This is what I was saying prior to, was there is such a massive amount of claims here. And like you said in your story, we've even had an investigation group on our show who investigated there and had absolutely nothing happen to them.
Yeah.
So I remember watching videos on this place, and the problem with a lot of YouTube videos is it's kind of easy to suss out the people who are faking stuff. And it seems that the majority of the YouTube videos who go here have maybe not all faked stuff or made stuff up or embellished things, but the majority have.
Yes, I agree.
And it's still entertaining to watch, but it makes it really hard to decipher between like what's not real and what's real.
It does. And like we've discussed before, especially with YouTube, like we thoroughly enjoy watching some of the YouTube channels.
We used to enjoy more of them.
Yeah, that do paranormal investigations. But for those that do it for the likes, the views, the clicks, the clickbaitiness of things, they should have to do a quote for entertainment purposes on their video.
Shout out The Shape. If you guys ever want to, if you're ever unsure about some of your favorite groups on YouTube, go check out The Shape on YouTube. And he also has a Facebook group called Debunkers Anonymous.
Debunkers Anonymous, yes, which we are a part of.
Yeah, it's very helpful little community he's building. But that is the majority of the Shanley Hotel. I mean, there is so much stuff there. We like I said, we just couldn't have packed it all in. It was just too much.
Would have been a huge episode if we tried. Yeah.
But good news. I found a bunch of EVPs that we can listen to.
Yay!
And I love EVPs.
Yay!
And I love listening to them because to me, an EVP, well, of course it can be faked or something. It just gives it an air of legitimacy. To me, an EVP just always feels so solid, depending on what it is, of course. But I love listening to them. So you're all going to listen to them.
Yay. Enjoy.
And the first video, a lot of these are actually coming from the Shanley Hotels, actually, their own YouTube.
Ooh.
This first one, however, is not. It just says evidence. I have no idea what this is.
Okay.
So we're all going to be figuring this out together for the first time. It says the Shanley Hotel Ghost Cat Apparition.
Ooh.
Now, there's probably not going to be anything auditory that's going to be impressive, but these are, and I was wrong. This isn't YouTube. I thought it was. This is actually the Shanley Hotel's website. It's called thehauntedShanleyHotel.com. They are YouTube videos, but I'm watching them. I want to give them credit. I am watching them from their website.
Okay.
We may go through and listen to a good amount of these, but there are a lot. I won't be here all night listening to EVPs, but I'm going to go through and we're going to listen to a few of them. They're not very long. So this first one is, like I said, it's the Shanley Hotel Ghost Cat Apparition. Or maybe we should skip that one. Nobody wants to listen to something they can't see.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, we'll skip that one, guys.
I like this. I think it was the Seven Sisters Inn that we did that I pulled EVPs right off of their website. I really like it. I like that they, are embracing the paranormal side of things.
Okay, so the first one we're going to listen to, it says, I'm not going to tell you what it says. We're going to play the game like we normally do, and you're going to tell me what it says.
Okay.
So Let's listen to this one. So, it was real quick.
I heard it though. I don't know what it said.
It says, "Hear me, Allie."
Ooh, all I heard was like a but it was definitely there.
Like I said, a lot of these they just clipped them down, so they're just going to be clips.
Yeah.
So let's listen to
Get
this.
right to the good stuff.
Let's
though.
listen. Oh yeah. Let's see what this other one says.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that one more time because that's actually a very interesting one. You're not really listening for a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I heard it.
Okay, let's one more time. It's quick.
Yeah.
So, did you hear it?
Oh, you mean the whistling along to the tune?
The whistling
Yes,
of
I
Mr.
heard
Shanley.
that. I heard that instantly the first time.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one.
That was awesome. That
Okay.
That was really good.
So, you can tell me what this one says.
Where did you work again?
One more time.
Where did you work again?
Can you hear it?
I can kind of hear something.
She says, "Where did you work again?" And a voice comes through and he says, "Cell block 7."
Oh, I kind of hear that. That one's kind of hard to hear.
It was a good one though. It's easier for me because I can read it. But
Yeah, you read it on the screen.
I can hear it, of course, when I read it. All right, let's check this one out.
What's their names? Do you know? Did that just say Vincent? Yeah, he did. He did.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's
That's like a portal or something like that.
or like or almost like a spirit box type of thing.
Yeah, like the portal. So
Yeah.
it said Vincent. It
Definitely said Vincent.
Now this next one is for adult listeners only.
Oh,
Okay, it says,
cover the little ears.
says something bad. So let's check it out.
Are you mad that we didn't come down last night?
I heard that.
Did you?
Yep,
What'd
I
it
heard
say?
that. It said F you.
Yeah, first they said, "Did you come down last night?" And
no.
it said no.
Yep,
and then
I
it
heard
said "F you."
Naughty ghosts.
So angry.
Oh my goodness. It must be Joe.
Must be. I'm gonna try to find one more good one, and then we'll call it because there's more than I thought there was.
Wow.
There's a ton. It seems like they just took every clip of everyone who's ever been there and took their EVPs.
I think that's really cool though, like because so many investigators and stuff go through there, and they just kind of showcase everybody's evidence.
Oh yeah. Okay, so here's one more.
The other night, Joe, someone asked how many people did you kill?
All right, I'll play that one more time.
The other night, Joe, someone asked how many people did you kill?
Did you hear it? I mean, I know you heard it.
I there was a voice for sure. It was hard for me to even hear what the lady said.
It said, "Joe, how many people did you kill?"
I don't know.
And he said, 107.
Ooh.
That's a lot of people.
Wow. Okay, Joe.
But look,
Jeez, calm down.
If everybody else there wants to check this out, just go to thehauntedShanleyHotel.com, and there is a ton of stuff on there.
I love that.
There's even visual stuff, shadows and apparitions, and just tons of stuff, tons and tons of stuff. There's lots of recorded stuff. So gather your own opinion about it and go check it out. But we got to move forward.
We do.
And since we've covered everything up to this point, we do have to...
Is it real?
We, as in me, myself, and I, Steve, Steven, and Stavonius, we need to ask you, Megan, after hearing all of this and listening to EVPs, like solid EVPs, what do you think is the Shanley Hotel haunted?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
100% yes.
That quick?
That quick.
Wow.
This one is big one for me. I really enjoy everything that I have seen on this place.
I didn't even get a chance to lean back in my chair.
Yes. I think this one's a big one. This is the top one.
Oh, wow.
This is, I'd say up there with like Waverly Hills.
Was it Omar Gosh's video or Mo Sargi's video that did it for you? Did it put you over the top?
Definitely not. Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I'm tired.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yes, absolutely. I think this place is 100% haunted.
Wow.
And I would love to go. And that is all. That's all I got.
Oh, okay.
What about you?
I have a little different opinion.
Okay.
I do think it's haunted.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think 80% of the stories that they tell about that place are real.
I could agree with that.
I think there's paranormal stuff happening there,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even a lot. I don't know how much until I go there, but I do think there is, because some of those things, they're not really worth making up, or I just feel like they would play them up even more, like the whistling thing and stuff like that. I guess they would have the option to make the stuff caught creepier than it really is, and they don't. So, but yes, I do. The only thing I'm pulling into question is all the stuff that they talk about, because I don't think a lot of it's real. I think a lot of it's really, really made up. But I do believe it's real. So that only means one thing.
It means that thing.
It means it. And it's going to get
The big old seal of approval.
So that is the Shanley Hotel in Napanoch, New York, in Ulster County. And I mean, we covered it all the way back to the 1600s. So
We did. Wow. I am super glad we did this one. I really am. And this place is not to be confused with the Stanley Hotel.
yes, in Colorado, which we'll end up doing that one because it's got a cool link to Stephen King. So I think that's pretty rad. And it's another cool spot. A little less controversial, actually. I think a lot more people agree that place is haunted, but we'll do our own research about it.
We will.
And I do want to point out, like, if you look up the Shanley Hotel, if you've never seen it, it's not what you think. This is not like other hotels we've done that's like this big concrete structure. This thing looks like an old house.
It does.
And it's very homey looking. It's actually pretty cool looking. I would love to visit it as well. And maybe one day when we go up north to visit, we can just take a couple day trip over to New York and we could stay there.
Yeah.
Very expensive though.
At this, yeah, I
No,
bet.
to stay here, I looked
bet.
it up. It's very expensive.
Yeah, I bet. But this place, like, you think of a hotel, and especially the ones that we've done, like you said, they're this grand,
Huge.
ginormous, hundreds of rooms.
Banff Fairmont.
And this one had 35 rooms, I think they said, and only like a handful or two of them are for guests.
Yeah.
So not a lot of people
and they
can stay there.
and they encourage you to paranormal investigate while you're there. As a matter of fact, they will supply you with the tools and give you the knowledge of how to use them.
Super cool.
So that is the main premise behind this hotel is it's a paranormal hotel. You have to sign a waiver. You cannot be a kid and go here. So, I mean, maybe that's for creep factor, but for me, that helps sell it to me, honestly.
Yeah.
You have to sign a waiver. You
absolutely.
have to sign a waiver.
Yeah.
Am I going to die here? Am I going to be the next resident?
They're like, oh, you're possessed. Not our problem.
But yeah, the Shanley Hotel, I think we would both be comfortable saying there's definitely something going on there.
Absolutely.
And sorry, East Coast Paranormal, I know you guys don't like it, and we still love you guys. Maybe go back and do it again. Just amuse us.
Just try it.
Just try it.
One more again.
I don't know. Megan loves that now.
I do.
So, where can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram at forthebooze_podcast and on Facebook at forthebooze.
You can also find us on the dumpster fire known as Twitter at For The Booze. And you can also find us over on YouTube at For The Booze if you'd like to watch a little data screen thing while we listen to our not so sultry voices talk about paranormal stuff and tell stories. And don't forget, if you do like the listener stories, like today, send them in. We want them. Already been over it, and I've already made it creepy. Not going to make it weirder. And don't forget, 5 stars, rate and review. It's what helps get the show ahead. We've kind of hit like this plateau point where we are almost into, being something a little bigger. And we would like to take it the next step. And we can really only do that with everybody's help. And we don't ask for money or anything, and we would just appreciate it if you would do the rate and review thing. It would really help us out a lot.
It would.
And thank you to everybody who has been with us all this time, listening to two nobodies sit in their bedroom and talk about the thing that they enjoy with, to the people that enjoy it. And we love it.
We do. We love it. We have so much fun doing it. And just thank you.
That's right.
Thank you to all our listeners, all our booze crew.
The booze crew. But I think this is it. And we're going to be back for another one next week.
We will. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye.